We welcome in Blaine Fowler on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline, our dual-threat analyst of college basketball and college football. Blaine, we'll start with our Twitter question and BYU basketball. What makes this team to you fun to watch?
It's kind of their unpredictability.
Right? Totally fair.
I don't know what to expect from them, so I have to watch every game. Are they going to go out and score 106 and just knock everything down, or are they going to do what they did up at Gonzaga and grind one out where the big guys play well and they play great defense? I think some of it's the unpredictability and the potential they have when they're knocking down shots that they can beat anyone, and I mean anybody. If you get all three of their guard line knocking down shots on the same night, so we're talking about Seljaas playing well. We're talking about Chase Fisher playing well. If you get, and then those guys have been a little bit up and down. If you get Seljaas and Fisher both knocking down shots, and then Emery, he's been fairly consistent, but he's had some off nights. If all three of those guys are hitting shots, they can beat anybody, and I mean anybody. I don't care if it's a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They can beat anybody. And that intrigue, knowing that when they're hitting shots they can do that, makes them really fun to watch. You got to tune in and see if they're on that night.
Okay, with that said then, two-part question. What are your expectations for BYU in the NIT Final Four next week? But also, are your expectations greater now than they were before the NIT started?
I think they're a little bit, with the way Zach Seljaas has played in this tournament, that gives me more confidence that they can go win this thing. Because you remember when he came back from his injury, he wasn't quite the same guy he was before. I thought he was remarkably confident and effective for a freshman in the first part of the season. And then he's out for a little bit, and he comes back, and he just didn't quite have that mojo going. He's kind of a little bit up and down. I feel like he is back. And when he's back, that's just one more headache for opposing teams to worry about, because now Chase Fisher can be off and BYU can still go out and light it up. Or if they have two of those guys going, they're going. And for Seljaas, it was a little bit of time when he was trying to get back and really wasn't quite there. With him there right now, I feel like they have a shot to win this thing. I like their matchup against Valpo. And I think they get to the final. Wouldn't it be so fun to have them play the Aztecs in the final?
Oh, my goodness.
Great.
Please, can we please do that? Okay.
Brenda keeps saying to me, let's just go back. Just schedule yourself back. Because my office for my regular work is back there. She's like, let's just schedule it back and just go. Like, what if they're playing the Aztecs on Thursday? That would be so fun.
And you're a New York guy, Blaine.
I know, but my problem is we would do it, like I absolutely would do it, but it's Alumni Day at BYU football practice on Friday next week. And so I'm so confident I get to the finals, I know that I'm going to have a huge conflict. I'm going to get back there. We'll go to the Tuesday game. They're going to beat Valpo. San Diego State's going to beat George Washington. And now we're going to go, we need to stay for Thursday night, but I need to be back on Friday. I just can't have that much conflict in my life, so we're probably going to stay at home and watch it on TV.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation. We're talking BYU basketball right now. You mentioned that you like the matchup against Valparaiso. Why do you like BYU's matchup against the number 1 seed Valpo, who is a team that a lot of people thought should have gotten into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, you know what? They probably should have, but so should have BYU. When you listen to Mark Few talk about his team and where he thought BYU was, BYU's as good as most of the teams in that NCAA tournament, as is San Diego State. Maybe the Pac-12 is overvalued this year, and maybe the Mountain West and the WAC were undervalued. The Horizon may be a little undervalued. They were the 1 seed in this, but I like the fact that they rely so much on Alec Peters to bring them the scoring. And BYU's done a pretty good job when you have one guy of being able to really work hard on that one guy and shut him down. They only have 2 guys that average in double figures. Keith Carter averages 10.3, but Alec Peters is at over 18 points a game, a really, really skilled big guy at 6'9" and 230 that can step out and shoot threes. And so I believe BYU can match up with him and shut him down. Valpo's a good defensive team. You look what they did in the St. Mary's game. Played extremely well in that basketball game defensively. But I just think BYU in the bright lights of Madison Square Garden is going to come out and shoot it well. And, we already said this at the beginning. If they're shooting it well, it doesn't matter whether it's Valpo, San Diego State, or Duke. BYU's got a chance to win the game. So I like this one.
With what Kyle Collinsworth did the other night against Creighton, his Michael Jordan flu game that every athlete, seems to have at one point in their career is kind of added to everybody's appreciation for Kyle Collinsworth. So, Blaine, we'll ask you, where do you think Kyle Collinsworth belongs in the discussion of all-time great basketball players at BYU?
Well, I don't know how you don't put him. He's got to be in the top 10, and here's why. And everybody says, well, is he going to be able to play in the NBA? I don't know. His shots, he's going to have to continue to work on a shot. He's going to have to make free throws. But the impact that he has had on the college basketball games that he plays in, every time I broadcast a BYU game and talk to the opposing coach before the game, they all say, well, we just don't know what to do with Kyle Collinsworth. He gets wherever he wants on the floor. We can't stop him from getting in the paint. And then when we collapse our defense to stop him from getting wherever he wants in the paint, then he kicks the ball out and he hits wide open jump shooters, and they're good jump shooters. We just don't know what to do with him. He's a matchup nightmare for opposing coaches. As good a matchup nightmare as BYU's ever had. And so you got to put him up there. And his record for triple-double speaks for itself. He's not just in BYU's record books. He's in the all-time NCAA record books, and it's going to be a long, long time, if ever, that somebody comes and breaks that triple-double record.
Good stuff on the basketball side with Blaine Fowler, our dual threat analyst on BYUtv. Follow him at BFowler16 on the Twitter machine. Now to football, Blaine. What was your reaction to new BYU head football coach Kalani Sitake jamming out in the BYU student section during the NIT home games?
It just verifies to me everything that I thought about Kalani Sitake. He's a passionate guy, but he's a BYU guy. I remember Kalani coming to practice when I was playing, when he was just a kid, and his dad, Tom, being a huge BYU supporter and being around. So Kalani's a guy that grew up on BYU football, and even though he went away from BYU to cut his teeth and to learn the game and to learn from great people, he learned a lot of good things with his experience at Utah and with Gary Anderson up at Oregon State that he brings back here. But in the end, what he is he is one of the great BYU fans that's grown up, learned his craft, and has come back home. And that just makes it solid. He is BYU fan number one, which I love. Isn't that nice to have the head football coach that has grown up with this university as a big part of his life and is a huge fan?
Yes, please.
He's right in his element there. And how if you're the students, how do you not just love that guy? How do you not go out and support that football team next fall? And if you're all the other coaches, I mean, he's showing up at volleyball games. He's going to baseball games. He's a huge fan. Well, how do you not, in return, be a fan of his program? I think he's going to bring a lot of the programs together and a lot of the coaches together with that kind of mentality, and I think he's going to get that student section to rally around this football team like it never has.
Blaine, when we found out that Taysom Hill was coming back, one of the biggest questions in regards to spring was, well, how much is he going to do? Well, we found out that he is going to participate in Saturday's football scrimmage at LaVell Edwards Stadium. How much do you expect to see Taysom in the scrimmage on Saturday?
I don't think a lot. I think he's going to make a cameo. I think it's going to be like it's going to be like it was when I was a freshman and Jim McMahon was a senior. So Jim had already broken, I don't know how many NCAA records, some ridiculous amount of NCAA records as a junior. In fact, he's going into his senior year, and he's on the cover of the NCAA record book. He has a year left to play, and he's already on the cover of the record book. So I just remember in practice, like early in the season, the first day, I think it was the first day we had pads on, somebody from the defensive line ran like within 10 feet of him. And every coach on the staff freaked out. Like, what are you doing? Don't go by him. Did you breathe on him? If you breathe on him, you're going to get kicked out of practice. And I thought, okay, well, I see where Jim stands. And then they put me in and let him just drill me right in the face. I was like, okay, I'm here, lay down here. Here's Jim, way up here. Don't breathe on Jim, but smack Blaine in the face. That's okay. And so I think that it's going to be just like that for wherever he is. everybody's going to know, do not go anywhere near that guy. I think it's just for him to be out there to get a little bit of timing, to show the fan base that, yep, he is progressing. He's way ahead of schedule, to have him throw some balls around. Really, that's all it's going to be. Why risk him getting hurt at all? But I do think it's great morale for the team, and it's great morale for the fans to see him out there because he is way ahead of schedule.
Only 2 days until BYU takes the field at LaVell Edwards Stadium for the spring game. But let's remind Blaine and everyone else watching and listening, how many days until perhaps Taysom Hill takes the field against the Arizona Wildcats?
Countdown to the Wildcats.
163. Blaine, are you a proponent of the countdown, or are you on Team Jerem and you want to veto the daily rundown?
Why does Jerem want to be a killjoy? That's what I'm trying to understand. So, and I think it's very appropriate that we have this discussion when he's not there so we can have it behind his back, right?
I love it when we talk about things and they're not here to defend themselves.
Yeah, exactly. But why not have it? Why does he want to not have that? Come on. You realize that when, I think it was when Urban was up at the university, up at the U, that he had a countdown clock in the weight room that was a countdown to BYU. So,
wow.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, and so that tells you, you want to get ready for a big game. Well, you have a countdown to it. Is the opener with a new coaching staff not a big game? I don't care who it's against. I don't care if it's Bo Diddley Tech.
Nicely played. Nicely played.
You got to count it down. So I'm on board with you, man. I'm on board with you.
Blaine, great to have you, man. We look forward to having you in studio next time you can get down here.
You know what? I'm officially moved down. This is just a crazy week because we barely just moved down. There's boxes everywhere. When I get settled in next week, I'm there with you guys.
You got it, brother. Blaine Fowler, thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, guys.